Go ahead.
Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to First Baptist Church on this somewhat rainy morning. We had just a little bit under 3 inches of rain at our house, and the crops are loving every minute of it. I don't know when we'll be able to cut grass, but we're thankful for the rain, and we're thankful that you're here too. Let's go ahead and stand for the opening, the call to worship. And in case it's not on your screen, be sure to look at your bulletin. Our souls proclaim your greatness, O God.
And our spirits rejoice in you.
And let's bow for prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for today. Thank you for the freedom to come and worship. Thank you for the rain. Thank you for the sunshine. Thank you for Pastor Mark that he has come to be with us. Bless us today in this service. In your name, amen. And remain standing for the opening hymns.
Good morning, all.
Good morning.
As you look around, it becomes obvious that it's summer and that a lot of people are out of town right now on vacations, or family reunions, various places, but regardless, those of us who are here, we are still, as Shakespeare sort of said, we happy few, we band of Christians. And the spirit is just as strong as it would be if we were packed to the rafters. So let that spirit shine through you as we sing our praise songs this morning, which come from our hymnal. If you would simply turn to the first one, which is hymn number 381, Open My Eyes, Lord. Number 381.
When
Now if you would turn to hymn number 303, which is People Need the Lord. And this one is, I love this song, but it's just too short. So we're going to sing it twice through.
We have, during the month of June, been celebrating One Great Hour of Sharing. And today is the last day for this offering. Our goal is $1,500. But I am pleased to announce, as of today, we have received $1,627. Thank you, thank you, thank you for your generosity. This money will be used wisely. May God bless each and every one of you, and may you have a very lovely, lovely day. Thank you.
Before we have the prayer, it is my privilege and honor to introduce our guest speaker, Pastor Marc Kirchoff. He is the donor advisor for the Great Rivers region and the International Ministries, rather. And I don't know much more about him except that he was a pastor in Indiana at one time. And anything else that I think we ought to know, I think you're invited to let us know. So, welcome. Let's go to the Lord in prayer. Almighty God and loving Heavenly Father, we are gathered here today to worship you and to glorify your name. How great you are, Lord, and how fortunate we are to call you Father. You stand in awe of your incomparable power and majesty. We are blessed by your infinite love and grace. Your power and wisdom are beyond our understanding. You provide for all our needs, comfort and reassure us when we are broken-hearted and afflicted. You reveal yourself to us daily through blessings, both great and small. And for that and for all that you are and do, we are truly thankful. We ask your intercession today for the many needs of the world, specifically for the needs of our congregation and our community. Bless and comfort those who are in special need of your presence and support right now. Surround them with your grace and love us only as you can do. Give them and all of us strength for today and tomorrow. Fill our hearts with love and divine inspiration as we conduct this morning's service. We pray in the name of your Son, Jesus, who taught us to say, pray, Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. Now it's time to return some of the blessings that the Lord has given to us. The Lord loves a cheerful giver, so let's be cheerful and give with the ushers come forward. us, we realize that the things we possess are only ours because of your generosity, and that the least we can do is to return some of what we have given, that you have given to us, so that others may share in our bounty and be as blessed as we are. Therefore, we offer these tithes and gifts and ask your blessing upon them. Please multiply them so that they might have the greatest possible impact upon the advancement of your kingdom here on earth. All this we ask in your Son's name. Amen. You may be seated.
Our scripture reading today is an Old Testament reading, and it is out of the book of Psalms. This is Psalms chapter 139, verses 7 through 12. Where can I go from your spirit? Where can I flee from your presence? If I go up to the mountains, you are there. If I make my bed in the depths, you are there. If I rise on the wings of the dawn, if I settle on the far side of the sea, even there your hand will guide me. Your right hand will hold me fast. If I say, surely the darkness will hide me, and the light become night around me, even the darkness will not be dark to you. The night will shine like the day, for darkness is as light in you. May God bless our reading.
This is weird. Nobody called me out here. Miss Brenda? Miss Brenda? Is she playing hide and seek or something?
No, she's in Missouri at a family reunion today.
Oh, well, usually Pastor Rob takes her place when she's not here. I don't see him either.
That's because he's at a church conference this weekend.
Goodness. And Homer's not here today either. He went camping with his Boy Scout troop. So I'm out here all alone. This has never happened to me before. So now what? Suddenly I'm all nervous and kind of scared. I don't know what to do next. I suppose I could sing something.
Or not. That might not be the best idea. I've heard you sing Malachi.
Oh, well, fine then. So what can I do instead? I guess someone else might fill in the time by doing an interpretive dance, like acting out one of the Bible stories or something. But this will come as no surprise. Dancing is not exactly my forte. If you don't believe that, just ask Lillian for her feet. So, what's left? Oh, wait a minute. I'm good at talking. I guess I'll just come up with something profound to talk about. Let's see, what? It should be something life-altering, of course. I am, as you know, Malachi, the Bible guy. Let's see. It's hard to think when you're up here all alone. As a matter of fact, it's downright lonely. I don't like being alone. I don't think any of us do. There's nobody up here to bounce my ideas off of. Nobody to laugh when I say something silly. No one to correct me when I get it wrong. I don't like being by myself. It is for the birds. How do these birds get in here? Does anybody ever shut the doors? Wait a minute, what is this? It's got a note. What does that say? Read the psalm. Read the psalm? Which psalm? There are 150 of those things. Which one does it mean?
Probably the one Carol just read to us, Psalm 139.
Do you think? But why that one necessarily?
Why don't you read it again and find out?
Well, that's too easy. Okay, hold on just a minute. I gotta get my Bible. I'll be right back. let's see, Psalms were, oh, here they are. Now let's see. Number 137, 38, here it is, 139, just a minute. All right, here we go. Okay, whoa, oh, somebody's head. So it says, where can I go from your spirit? Where can I flee from your presence? If I go up to the heavens, you are there. If I make my bed in the depths, you are there. If I rise on the wings of the dawn, if I settle on the far side of the sea, even there your hand will guide me, your right hand will hold me fast. Interesting. But why do you think the bird told me to read that?
Isn't it obvious that Psalms tells us that we're never alone? You're never alone, Malachi. That even though Miss Burnett and Pastor Rob and Homer aren't here, God is. He's right beside you.
Yep, you're right. That's what it says. So I guess that means it's silly for me to feel alone or lonely today or anytime, really, because God's with me. He's here right now, right here, behind this curtain, out there with all y'all, and he'll be with us all day, wherever we go, whatever we do today, tomorrow, and always, right?
That's what it says.
Brother, why didn't I realize that on my own? I've read tons of Bible verses with that exact same message. There's one in Deuteronomy that says, the Lord himself goes before you and will be with you. He will never leave you nor forsake you. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged. I should have reminded myself of that one first thing. And then there's another one in Genesis that says, behold, I am with you and will keep you wherever you go. And there's lots of other ones in the Bible too. I feel really silly now for feeling so alone and lonely before. I know my Bible, and I know God's promises too. Sometimes I just forget to remember what I know. But I remember now, with God at my side, I can do anything. So now all that Malachi the Bible guy needs to do is what I do best. That is, come up with a life-altering message full of wisdom.
Malachi, I think you already came up with that life-altering message full of wisdom.
I have? Oh, I guess you're right. I have. Or rather, I did with God's help. So now it's time to pray, I think. Everybody bow your heads, please. Dear Lord, there are times when things aren't the way they're supposed to be, and there's no one around to help us figure things out. So we get all nervous and we start feeling alone and confused and abandoned and afraid. At times like that, we just need to remind ourselves that we're never alone, and we never have to figure things out by ourselves, and we never need to be afraid, because you are always right there with us. We may not be able to see you, but we can feel you in our hearts and in our minds and in our souls, comforting us and guiding us and just being with us as our loving Father, our companion and our friend. We thank you for your steadfast love and your presence in our lives that brings us so much security and peace. Please be with us always in everything we do. We pray in your Son's name. Amen. Wow. So listen up out there, everybody. If you're feeling alone or lonely sometime, today, any other time, don't forget, God's with you all the time, just like he's with me. Doesn't that make you feel better? I hope so. See you next week. Bye.
Well, Malachi pretty much summed up the sermon, too, so thank you. Let's continue our worship as we prepare to receive God's Word today by singing all the verses of hymn number 330, I Trust Him. It's a pleasure to be, and an honor to be invited to come and share God's Word, but it means so much more when you're invited back to speak again. So thank you for the invitation. Also, thank you for your generous support at One Great Hour of Sharing. I saw the total and how you surpassed your goal. I suppose I should be surprised, but I'm not, because I know the giving and the mission history of this church. So I'm not surprised, but I'm amazed at the continued generosity of First Baptist Church of Highland, and I thank you for that. You are a blessing to International Ministries and to our greater American Baptist family, so thank you for your generosity, and congratulations on surpassing your goal. We will, of course, make sure that every dollar changes lives around the world, so thank you so much. I know that a lot of folks, as mentioned earlier, are on vacation, and that's okay, because as was mentioned, God is with us no matter where we are. I remember as a child, vacation always meant coming to this part of the world. My dad was a baseball coach. We grew up in southern Indiana. And Dad, we grew up Baptist first and Cardinals fans second. And so vacation every year meant coming to St. Louis to come. We usually left on a Thursday afternoon, and we came over and saw ball games on Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday. We would go up in the arch, we would go to the zoo, and travel home on Sunday. And every year as a kid, that was vacation, year after year after year. And then I got married, and one year my wife suggested we go on vacation, and she thought maybe it would be good to go to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. And I explained to her that vacation meant going to St. Louis, going to ball games, going to the zoo, and going up in the arch. And so we agreed we would go on vacation, and so we packed our bags, and we went to Myrtle Beach. Now, when we went to Myrtle Beach, this was the first time I had ever seen the ocean. Now, I'd been to Chicago before, and so I had been to a place where you couldn't see the other side of the body of water. But in Chicago, it's a little different. You kind of know that the other side, Michigan's it's over there, you know it's there. As a matter of fact, I've been up in what's now the Willis Tower, the Sears Tower, and I've been up in there, and when you're up there, you could see the other shore of Lake Michigan, so that really didn't count. The ocean in Myrtle Beach was the first time I'd seen a body of water where you could not see the other side. And as I waded into the ocean for the first time, that was a true sense of eternity. So seeing the ocean and being in Myrtle Beach was a true religious experience. I saw the people, the burnt offerings on the sand, worshiping the sun god, and as I waded into the ocean, there was a true sense of eternity there. We also, the first time we were there, it happened to be a bikers weekend, and everybody with their Harley Davidsons were there. And on the news, as we arrived that Saturday night, they were happy to report that there had been no violence there, so we were very happy too. But Sunday morning, we woke up and decided we would go to church. And we had driven all day on Saturday, and decided, we really didn't want to get out and drive. We didn't want to get in the car anymore. So we looked for the nearest church, and it happened to be a United Methodist church, which was just a few blocks from our hotel. So we went to the United Methodist church, and it happened to be Pentecost Sunday. And I remember the sermon that day on Pentecost Sunday, and the pastor talked about, of course, Pentecost, the coming of the Spirit, the birthing of the church. And I remember he reminded me of my seminary days and my Hebrew lessons, which have totally escaped me, except for this one word that he reminded me of, Ruah. Ruah, R-U-A-H, Ruah. It takes a lot of air It's got to come from the lungs. Ruha. It means, well, it's translated in a lot of different ways. Spirit, breath, breathe, and wind. It was God who created the world through his Ruha. He spoke. It was God when he breathed in life into Adam and Eve. He breathed Ruha, life, into human beings. Later on in the Old Testament, when the Egyptians were pursuing the Israelites and they had them trapped against the Red Sea, you read that a great wind came and parted the waves of the Red Sea. And there was a wall of water on each side, and there was dry ground for the Israelites to walk across. The wind that came and parted the Red Sea was Ruah. The Spirit of God, it says, came upon Samson and gave him great strength. That Spirit, that word is translated Ruah. The Spirit, the Ruah of God, came upon the prophets, and they prophesied throughout the Old Testament. The Spirit of God, the Ruah, came on Mary and conceived the baby Jesus in her womb. The Spirit of God, by the Spirit of God, Jesus cast out demons. By the Spirit of God, Jesus healed the sick. By the Spirit of God, Jesus raised Lazarus from the dead. And on Pentecost Sunday, the pastor reminded us, by Ruah, the Spirit, the Holy Spirit, came as Jesus had promised at Pentecost and birthed the church, which we are part of yet today. Ruah. You can go home and impress others with that word. You know a little Hebrew now. Ruah. You can tell by just saying that word. It takes some wind. It takes some breath. Ruah. As we came out of the church that Sunday morning, out of that Methodist church, and came back out onto the streets of Myrtle Beach, I noticed something. The wind. Now, if you've ever been to the beach, whether it's Myrtle Beach or Florida or even Indiana Beach or anywhere near a large body of water, you notice, even in Chicago, what's Chicago known as? The Windy City. There's always wind near a body of water. And of course, the rest of that week, I noticed the wind always blows in Myrtle Beach. The wind always blows. And so I remembered that sermon, and I remembered that Ruah means wind or spirit. And so throughout the rest of that week, I was reminded that God's Spirit, God's breath, the wind represents God's presence. And then, of course, vacation ended, and we came home. And when I got home, I noticed the yard needed to be mowed. This year has been particularly fruitful for mowing, those who have mowing businesses. I mowed my yard Wednesday of this week, and as I got ready to leave this morning, I noticed my yard needed to be mowed again. It just grows and grows and grows. So when we got home from vacation in Myrtle Beach these many years ago, I noticed that, as I figured, the yard needed to be mowed. And it was hot, and it was humid, and it was sticky, as it's been around here lately. And I really didn't want to do it, but it had gotten pretty bad. And it just, I kind of thought, well, maybe I'll wait a day or two, and watch the weather, and it's just going to get hotter and stickier. So I went outside, and there was no wind, there was no breeze. But as I got the mower out, I looked at the trees, and I could see just ever so slightly the leaves were moving. You couldn't feel the breeze, but you could see the leaves were moving. And I even looked at the grass, and because it was a little bit longer than I had hoped, even the grass was moving ever so slightly. And I was reminded that even in the hot, sticky days, the dog days of summer which are coming, the wind always blows. Scientifically, I can explain it. I won't take time to here, but the air always moves from one place to another. Theologically and spiritually, God's presence is always with us. The Ruach, the Spirit of God, the breath of God, the wind always blows. God is always present. Whether we're on vacation, or whether we are at work, or whether we are recreating, or just relaxing at home, whether we're at the restaurant, whether we're at school, whether we are wherever we are, God is always present. The wind is always blowing. God's Spirit is always there. In the good times and the bad times, whether we're experiencing joy or sadness, whether we're experiencing illness or injury or health and prosperity, the wind always blows. God's Spirit is always there. In the last year and a half, we've experienced unprecedented times. Everybody has experienced it. You know, in normal times, you look at the prayer list and see, different people experiencing different circumstances, and some are up and some are down. But this last year and a half, everyone around the world has experienced difficult times. Without exception, we've all experienced different degrees and in different ways the pandemic. And yet, the wind continued to blow. In the wintertime, when we didn't particularly want the wind to blow because it was so cold, the wind still blew. And when it warmed up and it got hot again, the wind continued to blow. And it will continue to blow. And even through the pandemic, I had questions. People would ask me, well, I suppose because of the pandemic, International Ministries just shut down. We stopped. No, not at all. Yes, the circumstances changed. The way our missionaries worked changed a little bit. We did a lot of our meetings by Zoom. 2 years ago, I barely knew what Zoom was, but now, frankly, I'm a little tired of Zoom meetings. But we learned how to use it. I even learned how to host meetings. I learned how to mute and send meetings in, and send people into chat rooms and different things. We had our biennial that just concluded last night. I don't know if any of you were able to join us for our biennial this past 3 days, but we had an entire biennial conference by Zoom. And our missionaries joined us. We had rooms, virtual rooms, where we had our missionary from Ghana and our missionaries from the Dominican Republic and our staff from Philadelphia, me from Indiana, and folks from Washington State and California, all together in one virtual room. The technology was wonderful. And it allowed us to share what's going on and how our missionaries continuing to, like the Dieselbergs, rescue women, young women, from human trafficking. They're still doing it, and they've been doing it, and nothing has changed. And how the Stantons are continuing, Becky continuing to teach English as a second language, and Larry continuing to work with refugees coming to Hungary. They're here in the United States right now, but they'll be going back. They continue to do their thing, to minister as they always have. Because the wind always blows. God's Spirit continues to be with all of our missionaries around the world. Whether they are helping people harvest grain to feed the crops in times of drought, or whether they are helping people learn how to plant new types of seeds to grow better crops, or just simply sharing the gospel or teaching new pastors. God's Spirit continues to move. The wind always blows. And folks like you continue to be faithful and continue to give and are amazing in your generosity. Our World Mission offering continues. You have been so generous in that. I was looking at we call it a portfolio, but my list of donors here in the Midwest. Our World Mission offering in this fiscal year, which runs from October to September, is actually up 4% this year in a pandemic, because the Spirit of God continues to move people to generosity, and you're part of that. And we thank you so much for that. Why? Because God's presence continues, regardless of the circumstances, regardless of it, even in spite of the pandemic. We thank you for your support. We thank you for your generosity. But we thank, above all things, we thank God for his provision. And we know that wherever we go, no matter what the circumstances, no matter where we are, no matter whether it's good or bad, challenging, successful, plentiful, or not, God is always there. His Spirit continues to move. The wind always blows. So as we go out this day, whether it's raining or the sun is shining, whether we go out with challenges facing us or we go out in joy and prosperity, let's go and let's notice, literally, that wherever we go, whatever time of day, whatever the weather is, notice the leaves, notice the grass. Take note that the wind always blows. And know that that is God's Spirit. Wherever you go, whatever you do, God is always there. Take note that the wind is always blowing. And that's a sign that God's Spirit is always moving. That God's presence is always there to protect and to guide and to bless. Father, we thank you that your presence, no matter where we are, no matter where we go, to the heights or the depths, you are always with us. And Father, continue to let the wind blow to remind us that you are always there. We thank you for your presence, your guidance, and your blessing. In Christ's name. Amen. As we conclude our worship today, let's sing a song of commitment, a song of acknowledgement that God is always with us, and because of that, it is always well with our soul. Let's stand and sing hymn number 493, verses 1, 3, and 4. It is well with my soul.
Free.
As you go forth, may you notice that the wind always blows, and may the wind be always at your back. Go in God's presence with His blessing. Amen.